Hello and welcome back to another video. It is that time again, the time where I try and fail to predict the upcoming championship season, this time of course for the 25-26 season. But let's give myself some credit. Last season I did predict Luton to finish second. Sure, they got relegated, but on another day, that's a masterstroke right there. Blackburn to finish 23rd was not great either, but look, we move. Okay, time to improve on that this year. Apologies in advance for putting your team too low. Okay, it's not that deep. I'm sorry, just go easy in the comments, okay? And let me know what you think as well. Get a discussion going in the comments. Right, without further ado, let's get into it. This is my 25-26 championship predictions. 24th, let's just get out of the way. It's becoming a bit sad at this point. It's pretty obvious, probably the easiest or second easiest decision to make in the whole video. It's a complete mess. When it rains, it pours, and that's very true for Wednesday at the moment. They've got a manager just now, but realistically, there's only so much he can do. They haven't signed any players. Only 5 of the 15 most played players from last season remain. Wages aren't being paid. It's an out-of-use North Stand. They're almost relegated without a ball even being kicked. It's going to be an absolute miracle if they manage to stay up. It's going to be a miracle if they finish 23rd, to be honest. So, unfortunately, Sheffield Wednesday look like they are doomed. As for the other spots, I think there's a few teams which are in the relegation shout. I'm going to put Hull in the shout. I'm going to put Oxford in the relegation shout. I'm going to put Preston in there, and also Charlton too. So 23rd, I would probably just put Hull, and it's actually for similar reasons to Sheffield Wednesday. The issues at the top are going to correlate to issues on the pitch. We've seen that before at Hull. And once again, there are real questions around the stability of that football club. In terms of the squad, there's actually a decent core. Pandor in goal, Charlie Hughes, Cody Drama, but still overall feels pretty incomplete. And not to mention the squad's been built for various previous managers. Ikirich has proven he can adapt though, but still unproven in England. Defensively, Hull have been okay. They ranked 8th in terms of goals conceded last season, but in attack, been really poor. And they've just lost their top scorer, João Pedro, so that's not going to change, it looks like. Last season, they had pretty much the worst attack in the league. And starting a championship season with Carl Joseph up front, to me, does not scream like they're going to be moving on out of the relegations, unfortunately. So concerns about that. And of course, big question marks over the financial issues, strategies and operations at Hull. I think, unfortunately, that will result in the Tigers being relegated. Now, I think this is probably the second toughest decision to make in the entire video, 22nd, and I'm just about going to go for Preston, saying Oxford and Charlton will stay up. I think the reason that I go for Preston over the other two in terms of relegation is, number one, the way they finished last season was absolutely horrendous. The drop-off in form, 3 points from the final 8, and also the transfer window has been pretty unremarkable. I mean, it seems like quantity over quality is the kind of vibe going there. It's mainly free transfers. Terry Small, okay, looks okay after a promising League One season, but really it's not screaming safety, is it? And while Paul Heckingbottom has proved himself as a manager who can get promotion, he's not proven himself at the other end of the table, and there wasn't really anything last season that showed he would either. He was brutally honest in April as well. He said he'd throw a bomb under the squad. 15 of those players are still there. That's got to create a weird dressing room dynamic. So motivation and trust could be an issue here. There's major creativity issues through the middle, likely to rely heavily on wingbacks for service. Michael Smith needs good delivery. Jebison hasn't shown he can take half chances, so overall big changes are needed. And so far, they've got mild tweaks, so I'm going to go. I'm slipping into the bottom 3, unfortunately. Sorry, Preston fans. And I think I'm going to keep that in that order too. Oxford, I'm going to go just staying up. And there's one main reason for that, and that is Gary Rowett. I mean, he's proven time and time again he knows how to keep a team in this division. He did that again last season with Oxford, kept them up comfortably. And despite the pretty uninspiring transfer window, I think ultimately Oxford have shown that that squad's good enough. So maybe signings weren't what they needed this summer, because the core of that squad looks really good. Coming in goal, Hellick and Brown at the back, Brannigan in midfield, Harris up top, and Tyler Goodrum, of course, really exciting too. And then Charlton, who finally look to be stable after some really turbulent years. Nathan Jones has transformed them in just over a season from a relegation fight to playoff winners into the championship now. And the squad was already a well-drilled, cohesive one. It's now massively improved with transfers. They've done some really clever business. I think they've had one of the best windows in the league this season so far. Kaminsky in goal, that's bringing championship experience. Charlie Kelman up top, he's an exciting signing up front, and also more championship experience. Rob Apter, pacey winger, he's ready for the step up from League One. Amari Bell is another proven championship player. So Charlton already had a great core with players like Godden, Leeburn and Campbell, and they've added now what they lacked: championship experience and depth. So for me, I think Charlton will actually be pretty comfortable. So that's 21st and 20th sorted, as well as the bottom three. Now on to, I don't think these teams will really be in that much of a relegation fight, but they'll definitely be down there. I'm actually going to go, this may be unpopular, but I'm going to go for Wrexham in 19th. Probably the hardest team to place in the entire league, because there's no real team who's followed their rise. Sure, we've seen teams that have done back-to-back promotions into the Championship, but from non-league and with that kind of money and everything going on with the club, it's very unique, so it's hard to kind of judge. Sure, every time they've come up to a new league, they've proven people wrong and gone straight up, but the Championship is such a big step up. It's a different beast. I think it'll be definitely their toughest test yet, and I think definitely too much for them to go straight back up. They have, though, had a good window. They've brought in some marquee signings: Windass, Hardy, O'Brien, just to name a few. Recruitment, though, does feel like maybe more older, established players, which not necessarily a bad thing, but for a high-intensity physical league could be a bad thing. Parkinson, of course, has been brilliant, but whispers about his long-term fit have started because he's unproven at this level. He's had a poor record, 18% win rate in 141 championship games. Sure, he's strong in the lower leagues, one of the best, in fact, but he hasn't quite cracked the second tier. Could he do it this season? Absolutely. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I'm really not convinced on it. And I think that step up to eventually the Premier League, which no doubt will happen at some point, I doubt if Phil Parkinson was still there for that. And I think saying that just Wrexham will stay up sounds a bit uninspiring, because of course it's not quite the Hollywood headline that people want, but I think it would be a great achievement for Wrexham. Now we're on to sort of into the mid-table fodder here. Aren't going to get relegated really, but definitely nowhere near the playoffs. I'm going to go Watford 18th. I think the recruitment has improved, there's no doubting that. Big upgrades up front, players like Semedo and Irukunda, Baxter, Bowler and Kipiano at depth. Loser and Vata and Pollock are still progressing, and there's exciting talent and better balance than last season. But Cleverley was sacked after there was real signs of progress at Vicarage Road, and ownership trust seems to be at rock bottom now with the fans. Petzolono's come in, he's unproven at this league. There's mixed reviews from previous clubs. I could see this going either way. I really could. I'm going to go 18th. I'm going to be a bit pessimistic about it, because there's not been a lot in recent years to show me that Watford can push on for similar reasons. Stoke, you can never trust Stoke. Mark Robins has proven himself at Coventry. He's now looking to do the same at Stoke. He brings steady leadership and big picture focus, and there's been some good recruitment too this window. They've got one of the best keepers in the league statistically last season, Victor Johansson. An experienced addition, Aaron Cresswell, adds quality too. Squad still has plenty of midfield questions, especially after losing Walter Berger, but it's Stoke, you just can't trust them. I'm not going to get fooled again. Part of me wants to put them a bit higher, but it's Stoke. It's Stoke. Then rest and mid-table fodder. So I'll go through each of these teams. But Blackburn, and then I'm going to go QPR, I think. Then Swansea. No, there, yeah. And then I'm going to go for Derby County in 13th. So that's the bottom half done. So Blackburn, again, it's another team which is poorly run, and that's what I really think will hold them back. Under the Venkies, there's been real unclear leadership and stability issues all throughout their time. Despite this, on-field results have stayed pretty strong. A 7th place finish last season, and they retained a lot of key players. And there's some decent signings too, players like Tavares, but it's going to be really difficult to repeat last season, especially without John Eustace. I think a drop-off is coming, especially with the off-field issues. As for QPR, Cifuentes obviously leaving's a big blow. Julian Stefan, once again, another unproven manager in English football. However, the summer window has been one of the best in the league. They've brought in some brilliant signings: Paul Nardi, Liam Morrison, Kieran Morgan, Jonathan Varane, and of course, Kwame Poku. That's probably potentially signing of the summer so far. Core players like Jimmy Dunn, Sam Field prove stability, but a lack of striker really raises some questions. And last season, they were one of the worst attacking sides. They ranked 21 for XG last season. Poku can of course help that, but only to a certain extent. Needs someone in the middle to deliver to. Then as for Swansea, of course, they've been in the headlines for their new high-profile owners, and that maybe suggests that the direction of the club is going upwards and there's bit more ambition there. Of course, Alan Sheehan in charge, he impressed as a caretaker, got 24 points from 13 games in the last season. I think they've got a decent squad too. Vigouroux, Cabango, Key, Franco, and some good additions with players like Burgess, but the big loss of Harry Darling at the back. A consistent striker is still on the to-do list as well for Swansea. There is positive momentum, but full season consistency is yet to be seen. Then 13th, of course, John Eustace in charge. now one of the Championship's most highly regarded managers. I mean, not many managers can put in 2 manager of the season performances at 2 different clubs in the same season. Kept Derby up last season, 21 points from 14 games. That is playoff form over a full season. And they've again had a decent summer window. Danny Bath comes in, he's got aerial threat, he's a Championship veteran. Andreas Weimann, of course, he's familiar with Eustace at Blackburn, versatile player. Cotton Morris, I think that's one of the most underrated signings of the summer. He's a proven target man, 42 Championship goals, and of course he didn't do well with Luton last season, but nobody did at Luton. And also Patrick Agyman, who's bringing MLS quality, 17 goals in 59 matches over there. And the core of that squad is remaining as well, but I think there's potential concerns about the squad being maybe a bit older and also a lack of creativity. Morris, whilst he is a proven goalscorer, needs service. We saw that at Luton with Dougherty. He needed that on a service, and I think new signing Owen Beck could provide this, and I think that's what's going to push him up from their last season's finish. Then it says playoff chasers. I'm not going to say Pompey are in a playoff chase because people call me biased, but it is my team, Pompey, next. I think when you take budget and squad into account, John Messino is easily top 5 managers in this league. And if you want to see the full video that I made on how Pompey stayed up in the Championship last season and how they can move on, I'll link that in the top right corner there. You can watch it if you'd like. So I won't go into too much detail because I've got a full video on it, but Messino's shown he's not afraid to adapt. He changed his style to suit the Championship. Less possession, tough to beat, and that is really what kept us up comfortably, actually. There's no doubt we need to fix the away form. That was the key problem last season, but standout players like Colby Bishop and Josh Murphy, Callum Lang, Conor Ogilvie, the list goes on, Nicholas Schmid. Also, despite injuries and a tight budget last season, Portsmouth showed that they belong. You know, everything was going against us, but we still managed to grind out results last season. Transfers so far not been crazy, but solid nonetheless. So I think a solid mid-table finish for Pompey. Then I'm gonna go for Middlesbrough. Again, I don't really see a world that they get into the playoffs, but I'd be happy to be proven wrong. Again, I got a video on Rob Edwards and how he's going to replace Michael Carrick and how they're going to set up this season. So again, I won't spend too long because you can check that full video out. But they're going to be shifting to an intense pressing and wing-back demanding system. But there's no getting away from the fact that the squad is built for Michael Carrick's style, which is pretty different, and the players may understandably struggle to adapt so quickly. Success hinges on Edwards' man management and players embracing this new approach. If it works, Borough could return to playoff contention. I think personally they're going to need at least one season just to stabilise and then go and push on. Now I'm going to say from this point on, I could see each team getting into the playoffs. So I'm going to put all these teams that are in contention. So Bristol City, West Brom, Millwall, Norwich and Leicester. So 10th, I'm going Bristol City. Last season, of course, in the playoffs, best finish since 2008, and that reflects 4 years of off-the-pitch progress. Liam Manning built a structured, possession-based side, but now he's leaving for Norwich. Jared Struber's taken his place, and again, it's a very different style, and it's going to be difficult for the players to adapt quickly. Struber demands high pressing, intensity and controlled chaos, and while some players probably pretty well suited like Jason Knight and Adam Randall, there's definitely concerns about players like Rob Dickey, whether he has the pace for a high line like that. Struggle to see them getting into this competitive top 6 personally. I think the growing pains will mean they just about miss out. Same for West Brom, I think they're going to miss out. There has been improved off-field structure, Palmer sale has helped finances massively, and Ryan Mason has been given his first full-time job. Of course, we know he's worked under some really big names at Tottenham. It's going to be interesting to see what he's learned from them and how he can adapt that into the Championship at West Brom. Promising, but inexperienced nonetheless. I think the core of that squad at West Brom's really solid, but they need to make sure that they don't continue that slump that they had last season. Only 7 wins after Christmas last season. The style shift and learning curve expected under Mason, I think, will mean that they miss out. Now, these 3 are... only one of these can go into the playoffs, and I think these are the 3 which is going to be closest between. In 8th, I'm going to reluctantly put Millwall because I actually really want to put them in playoffs. Alex Neil, of course, a big reason for why they're so good. He transformed Millwall when he came in last season. He's an absolutely top manager. Ivanovic too, 10 goals post-January. He could be up there for the Golden Boot race. Key players like Tanganga, Denore, Cooper, Corburn really proved themselves last season, and I think there's no reason why they can't do that again. And the defence was really solid, 16 clean sheets. Again, attack was really the problem last season, and they've seen the issue and they've solved it with transfers. Dougherty and Corburn are going to massively help the creativity because they need it, because only 3 teams scored less than them last season. So They've strengthened their weakest area. Definitely see them getting into the playoffs. And I'm going to put Norwich in the playoffs ahead of Leicester, and that's because of the off-field issues that cloud this season for Leicester. A possible points deduction, boardroom uncertainty and fan frustration just mean there's too many question marks for me over Leicester City. Poor recruitment too. You could argue maybe they don't need it because they've got such a strong squad. New manager Marti Cifuentes offers tactical flexibility and fresh direction coming from QPR. Playoffs are definitely possible if the squad clicks, but for me, that potential points deduction, I just struggle to put them in the top 6. So in 6th, I'm going for Norwich. I think it's a really exciting time to be a Norwich fan. Liam Manning has now proven multiple times that he can get teams into the playoffs. He's done it now in the Championship with Bristol City, and he's also proved that when he's backed, he can do it. And Norwich have seen that, and they've absolutely backed him. Matthias Christegaard, I sounded Danish, and that sounded really good. He's a Danish international striker. He's energetic, intelligent, presser, he links play really well. Harry Darling, centre-back from Swansea, composed on the ball. It's good Championship experience, and he's free too, one of the best signings of the summer for me. Jacob Wright too, 19-year-old centre-mid from City, highly technical, and he pressed late last season too. And that's just naming 3. Of course, Sainz and Rowe are massive losses, but they've spent and reinvested that money really well. So for me, I'm going to say they're going to enter the playoffs. So now we have these teams. So Coventry, Sheffield United, no order for now, Ipswich, Southampton and Birmingham. For me, I think the easiest decision, along with Sheffield Wednesday bottom, is Ipswich top. I think they're a level above. We'll get onto them in a minute. 5th, I'm going to go for Coventry. I think Frank Lampard was able to prove himself. There was definitely question marks over him as a manager, despite the fact I think there was no way that Coventry should have been that low when he took over. Regardless, he did what he needed to do. He's shown he's flexible and he likes to have the ball. They averaged 55% last season. However, that is not potentially a good thing because that was the downfall in the playoffs. Sunderland absolutely destroyed them on the counter. I think the first leg they had about 70% of the ball, Coventry, and lost 2-1. So maybe something that Lampard and Coventry need to look at. The squad is full of top-end Championship level players. Van Erwijk, Sakamoto, Bobby Thomas, Ben Sheaf, Matt Grimes, Jack Radoni, Ephron Mason-Clark, Haji Wright. I mean, the list goes on. It's such a good squad. For me, the only thing stopping them from going on and into the automatics is the teams above them. You know, look at those 4. I think it's going to be really tough, but I can easily see them getting into top 2. And they've brought signings in as well that address depth and cover potential departures. Kessler Hayden's brought in as a versatile fullback, and Miguel Angel Baru, sure, yeah, backup left back. Rushworth and goal as well. So positions that need addressing, they've done that. But Louis Binks is a big loss, but that's more money to spend. 4th, yeah, I'm going to keep that order 4th. I'm going to go Sheffield United, just missing out 2 on automatics. Wilder, of course, sacked post-playoff final loss. The fan base is divided. This emotional blow after not going up last season. Ruben Sellers now is tasked with resetting the culture here with his high press and possession-based style. The early preseason signs are promising and big wins, but you know they are just friendlies, and key losses to players like Vinny Souza is a massive loss. However, at the time of recording, they have retained some really good players too. Michael Cooper, Harrison Burrows, Gus Hamer, Callum O'Hare, Tyrese Campbell, Albaster and Peck. So that's a really positive thing because there was question marks over their future at the club. And they brought in Tyler Binden as well, a brilliant ball-playing centre-back on loan from Forest. Sellers excels in youth development and tactical detail. He didn't do incredibly at Hull with only a 31% win rate and only stayed up on the final day, but at the end of the day, he did his job. He needs to prove himself at this top level now. There's definitely risks here. The squad adapting slowly to the new tactics, the emotional hangover, pressure from Wilder loyalists. But if the transition is smooth, there should be no questions about a top 6 finish. That squad is definitely good enough. For me though, not good enough for the top 2. Now, I think this is tougher than 22nd. I think this is the toughest position because I've been umming and ahhing over this for ages. And I was settled on Birmingham, and then I had to ask myself an actual serious question. Is that just because, as a Portsmouth fan, I don't want to put Southampton second? And I think, unfortunately, it is. Nobody can call me biased now. I've put Southampton in second. Let's talk Birmingham first, and we'll get on to Southampton in a minute. So Birmingham just missing out, but I think the ambition is clear with the Knighthead ownership. The infrastructure and vision is definitely there. Chris Davies was able to instill his identity really fast. Possession, pressing, intensity were all really evident in League One. Of course, they absolutely dominated League One. That was the bare minimum getting promoted, but to do it with 111 points, the record points, is saying something. And even after the league was confirmed, they still kept winning, which really shows their ambition at the club. Also shows that the talent and coaching and mentality is really key. It's not just the finances. which many people are saying is the only reason. Of course, that's the main reason. And as well as that, the core of the squad is retained. Stansfield, who got 20 goals, and he's also going to, I think, suit these more open championship games, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets even more goals now. And of course, I mean, the transfer window, I mean, let's talk about this. Furuhashi got 86 goals at Celtic. He's got elite movement and finishing, a Champions League goal scorer. Fujimoto, he's elusive, number 10. He adds so much creativity to that side. Tommy Doyle, he is a Premier League level player. He's only playing because Wolves can't get him into the squad. Demai Gray has pace and end product. He's proven player. Phil Newman, physical aerial centre-back. James Beadle adds goalkeeper depth and challenges Allsop too. So overall, they've added quality where they were already so strong. That is the sign of a top side. We can expect them to adopt some pretty similar tactics, a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, build from the back, rotations in the final third. Top 6 should be achievable, but the big question is whether they can get automatic. I'm going to say not quite, but let me know what you think, Blues fans. And this is so painful, but I'm going to say Southampton in second. Of course, after the Premier League disaster of 12 points, so close to breaking the lowest points record, but as proven by Sheffield United last season, the gap between the Premier League and Championship is massive. Sheffield United got 16 points, which is more, but only 4 more. And they got over 90 points last season in the Championship. And I can't see, like last season, I can't see this season being one where 2 teams get over 100 points. Will Still has been appointed. Of course, he seems like a very known person, but he is still unknown in terms of English football. He needs to prove himself. And I have actually got a lot of concerns with him. Although he's obviously a really exciting young coach, which loads of people are getting excited about, there are still just questions about him, and he is a bit of an unknown quantity. But he has proven that he's flexible with his aggressive pressing style and adaptable tacticality. In addition to that, the squad has balance and depth. Despite a major reset, the core has been retained. Young talents are emerging, reinvestment incoming too. And the key players are still at the club, again at time of recording. Owa Bellis, Flynn Downs, Mateus Fernandez, Armstrong Manning, Charles Edwards. And the attack is so stacked. Armstrong, Ross Stewart, Brighton Diaz, Archer, all proven Championship goal scorers. And when you can make a case for multiple players at one club winning the Golden Boot, I think that says all you need to know about Southampton this season. The midfield too, Fernandez and Charles in midfield. Either of them you could see winning Player of the Year. Yeah, it's a pretty scary squad. There are likely exits. It looks like Ramsdale's going, Diblin or Fernandez could go, but the fees will be high and late window reinforcements will be there than expected. So they can only just improve this squad even more. This is Still's biggest test by far, managing expectations and healing the fan base after Sport Republic's missteps. Top 2 push will be likely. The squad is strong enough if Still can settle. If Still, oh my god, that's like a riddle. If Still can settle fast. If Still can settle fast. Oh right, okay, first place, Ipswich. I think, yeah, like I said, I think this is pretty easy. Kieran McKenna continues this project post-relegation. He turned down other Premier League interests. That shows how committed he is to the owners and this long-term vision. A strong infrastructure and positive strategy and stable leadership too. Not something you can say for a lot of clubs in this league. In terms of the squad quality, on paper, it just is the best. It's built for a bounce back. Top Championship level players and Premier League quality all over the positions. Attacking output is ridiculous. These are Ipswich attackers and their contributions last time they're in the Championship. Smollett's got 31, Chaplin got 21, Clark got 19, Hutchinson got 16, Philogene got 18 and Hurst got 13. And of course, exposure to the Premier League has only further developed that core of that squad. In addition to that, they've retained a lot of key players like Clark, Wolfton, Davis, O'Shea, Greaves, all proven at this level. In midfield, Chaplin, Broadhead. In attack, Hutchinson is potentially going to leave, but regardless, Philogene, Hurst and Smollett all will likely remain. They've brought in some decent signings too, and McKenna is a known tactical quantity, unlike a lot of the other managers in this top 6, so that's another reason why I'm going for them to win the league. He's proven he's adaptable and effective at this level. He likes to have a lot of the ball. We can expect them once again to play with high fullbacks, a fluid front line, double pivot for control and structured pressing and rotations. There are simply no clear weak spots in that 11 or squad depth. There's a clear plan, an elite manager and top tier Championship talent. All signs point towards Ipswich winning the league. So there you have it. That is my 1-24 Championship predictions for the 25-26 season. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Who do you think is going to win? You can do full 24 if you have time, if you've got no job, or you can just give me your winners and losers and whatever you want to do. So to run through 24, I've got Sheffield Wednesday, Hull and Preston joining them going down. Just staying up, Oxford, Charlton, Wrexham and Watford. In the bottom half, it's Stoke, Blackburn, Queen's Park Rangers, Swansea and Derby County. Portsmouth, Middlesbrough, Bristol City, West Brom, Millwall and Leicester just miss out on the playoffs. Norwich, Coventry, Sheffield United and Birmingham make up the playoffs. And then the 2 automatic promoted teams for me, and Ipswich. So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please do leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you for the start of the season. Have a good one, everyone. Goodbye.